Please note, this episode contains discussions of situations of themes that some may find emotionally distressing.
I wanted to be seen more than I wanted anything else because it was my mum's love that I wanted. She was like, okay, your looks. She only started to notice me when my looks changed. And that is an unconscious belief of mine. If I look good, then I'll be loved. And that was one of the deep rewiring of the brain I had to undo. And the last time I went back to him, we got drunk together. And then the next night, he had broken my hand, strangled me, thrown me on the floor, kicked me, sprayed deodorant in my eyes and in my face. I remember scrambling to get out of his house. Healing to me means
in this episode of the SuperPower Podcast, I'm joined by Malin Andersson, a fearless and inspiring individual who's used her voice and her past painful experiences to empower others. Rising to fame on Love Island in the UK, Malin has since evolved into a powerful advocate for mental health, body positivity, and grief awareness, turning her personal story into a movement of healing and empowerment. Malin is a published author and a tireless advocate. She continues to challenge societal norms and champion emotional well-being, particularly for those of us who might be navigating life's toughest moments. Through her writing, her public speaking, and impactful media features, including articles with OK Magazine, the BBC, and Women's Health, her mission remains clear: to help others rediscover their worth and transform pain into purpose. Join us as we explore Malin's deeply moving journey from fame to self-discovery and uncover the powerful lessons that she's learned along the way about resilience, authenticity, and healing. Malin, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Better for seeing you. You always get a feel for somebody when they walk in. You've got glowing energy. So it's so nice to meet you.
Thank you.
So thanks for being here. Now, obviously, we just filled in the graph of your life.
Yeah.
And I'm known for this because I want to start off, if I can, I want to go all the way back. Now, there's a lot of people I start with their earliest memory, but I'm going to go even earlier. Because when you were born and your mum was giving birth, a lot was happening at that time.
Yeah.
Including with your dad. And I thought, could you just share what was happening around that time when your mum was giving birth to you?
Yeah, so I was born by a C-section and my dad had skin cancer 3 times. And around the time I was born, he was actually dying in the room next to my mum while she was giving birth to me. And I know that my mum was severely depressed when she was carrying me and after she had me too. So me as a fetus felt all of that, you know, and I have felt that feeling of me in the womb through meditations that I've done.
Wow.
That's a whole other.
But it's powerful though, because I was looking into this, whether it's called pre-verbal trauma, womb wounding, this ability that the fetus can feel those emotions, right?
Yeah.
And is that where you feel, I suppose, later in life, a lot of it stems from?
Yeah, massively. So to my core as a baby, abandonment issues were primary right there. And that mother connection wasn't as strong as it could have been because I had a carer, a Swedish lady who helped look after me because my mum, this is what she told me. She said, you know, I was so depressed I couldn't get you out of the cot at night. So I said I'd leave you there to cry and you'd be fine, but the carer would take me. And so that mother bonding I had with the mouth to breast, that's a natural release of oxytocin. And I didn't have that, which is what stemmed a lot of my addiction issues growing up. Because I was craving that outside of myself because it was taken from me from a young age.
And so from a young age, mum, as you said, battling with depression, very difficult for her. Did things, so as you kind of grew up and you were a little girl, was there ever a turning point for your mum? Or was she always in a pretty difficult place?
She was always in a difficult place. She had a hard life in Sri Lanka. She was born into poverty, right? And she lived in a shanty town. She was one of 6 siblings. She got beaten by her parents. She struggled on the way to school to find food, things like that, right? So she did her best for us as kids.
Yeah.
But having her husband die and then being left with 4 children, she moved to England. And from me being a little girl, I just remember so much shouting and anger, screaming. Her depression looked like withholding of emotion, withholding of intimacy. I'd hug her, she'd be like, "Oh bloody hell, get off me," like in a little way. And then she'd give me a hug, but when she was ready to, So there was a lot that I picked up on quite early because I am an old soul, and I remember being a strange kid, right?
But what was it like with your siblings then? So there's 4 of you.
Yeah.
What was that affection like?
So she loved my 2 brothers a lot.
Okay.
And she used to refer to me and my sister being the hard ones, right? You girls give me hell. And my sister, she's 10 years older than me.
Okay.
She had quite a rough kind of teenage year. She went down the wrong path, so to speak. And my 2 other brothers went to university and they did well and they left home. And my mum was really happy about that. So I kind of felt like I was the awkward black sheep in my family. I always have done. In fact, I'm not in contact with my siblings now.
Okay.
We've all gone down different paths, but I always felt very different.
Yeah. And then I suppose as you grew up together, obviously there's a bit of an age gap there with one being older, but into your teenage years, I know then you started to turn sometimes to alcohol, you mentioned, and it wasn't always 1 or 2, it could go on and on. What age did you start turning to that?
I started drinking around the age of 16, 17. It's when I started the beauty pageants. I wanted my mum's validation so much, and she bribed me to do Miss Bedfordshire and Miss England. And she goes, "Hey, I'll give you £500." And I was like, "I'll do it."
Bloody hell, yeah.
And we're talking about a complete introvert here. I was, glasses on, moustache, geeky kid, just really and so I just suddenly changed, and that was my downfall because that was when my eating disorders started. The alcohol started, the partying, but it was all hidden from my mum, And
that was stemmed from wanting to fit in with this new industry that you were in?
Yeah.
That's a lot, right? You go from 0 to 100, as you say, you're this introverted.
Yeah.
How did you manage that? It's not easy.
I remember being at the doctor, and you get the magazines on the tables, and there was Kate Moss, and there was loads of models on there. I remember looking at her, thinking, I don't look like that. Why don't I look like that? And that was really clear to me at the time, because if I look at the timeline of me as a kid, I suddenly started to get hormones, and I just did a complete bam, changing my appearance. I want to fit in. I want to be loved. I want to be liked. I want my mum to notice me. And so that's what I did. Everything was based on my mum's love, needing her attention and love, because she wanted me to be cabin crew too.
And so mum gives you the £500, you go into the beauty pageants. Does that change your relationship with mum in any which way?
It was like I was doing it for her, and I didn't feel good enough to be doing it. And so I got this idea that if I change externally, I'll get more love.
Okay.
And that's what was detrimental becoming an adult. Because the more I changed my external features and appearance, the more abuse I got from toxic relationships. So it mirrors your whole childhood.
And how was that for mum? Because I think, not to stereotype nationalities, backgrounds, I'm half Indian, the Sri Lankan heritage in her, to say, actually do the beauty pageant, change yourself. Was mum rallying that on?
Oh my God, absolutely. She was that little 5'2" Asian in the background, right? Going, come on, with the little jog pants on. And she wanted for me to have what she couldn't have, right? So I understand it now. She wanted my brothers to go to uni. My sister didn't. My sister had a child at 18. She's great now. We don't speak because we're very different. But me, she was like, okay, your looks. She only started to notice me when my looks changed. And that is an unconscious belief of mine. If I look good, then I'll be loved. And that was one of the deep rewiring of the brain I had to undo. So she was there. She wanted me to have what she didn't,
Yeah. Which I guess in a way it came from a place of love.
Yeah, from her love, the generational thing, which she
Yeah.
only knew what she knew at the time, right?
Yeah. And so the years go on. What age are you when you're entering kind of the beauty pageants?
I was around 16 to 18.
Okay. And at this point, as you mentioned, alcohol, you'd have your first drink. And then did drugs come on the scene?
No. So I had my first boyfriend around that time. I started drinking, going to parties.
Yeah.
Drugs came on the scene when I was around, just trying to think, I was around 20 years old.
Mm.
It was after I went on Take Me Out. I was around 18, 19, Take Me Out. And that was my first bubble of TV.
Yeah. How did that feel?
That was strange because I wasn't on there to find love. I was on there to just get some airtime.
Okay.
And it obviously worked. But it was, again, my must be seen. I'm going on TV to be seen. someone noticed me, and then my mum will love me because look, I made it, my mum on TV.
But did you still feel so that introvert that was in you, that young girl, or do you think had that kind of gone a little bit? Were you like all in now?
Oh no, I was sweating. Oh,
Really?
I was like in hiding and masking. My masking became like brilliant.
Yeah.
I was just amazing at it.
Okay.
What you saw wasn't who I was internally at all.
Which takes a lot of energy, right?
Yeah,
to be somebody
massively.
who's not. And so the years go on. I want to go back to your first relationship. I mean, stemming from what we said about abandonment and love, I know you've often said, I don't care how you treat me, just don't leave me in the past. Tell me a little bit more about that and your first relationship.
So the first guy I was with, he was a pilot. He was really, really nice. He was lovely actually.
Okay.
But I was vile to him.
Really?
I didn't know how to be in a relationship. But then my relationship after that was another pilot.
Yeah.
And it was very toxic. It was just before Love Island, actually.
Yeah.
And it was showering me with gifts,
Okay.
giving me some love, but then controlling me also at the same time. And so my little brain of mine started to think, okay, if you show me a bit of attention externally, it means you love me. A bit like my mum bribing me externally with gifts and stuff, then you love me.
And so that's now leading up, I suppose, towards 2016. Let's say you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
A lot's going on behind the scenes before you go on the show. I've just got two different threads going here. Talk to me about this application or I want to go on Love Island. Where did that come from? Because you're in a relationship at the time with this individual.
Yeah. And it was a bit rocky with him. He lived in Muscat in Oman, and I'd fly out a lot to see him. I was a makeup artist at the time, and I'd disappear, go see him. And my mum was like, he's a pilot, great job, Malin, stay with him. So that's when it became confusing, you know, for me. And I got a call from the producers of Take Me Out, and it was the same guy for Love Island. And he goes, Malin, are you still single? Do you want to come on the show? And I went, yeah, go on then. And because I wasn't that into him in a way where I wanted to be seen more than I wanted anything else because it was my mum's love that I wanted. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And so you say you're single, obviously to the producer, but you were and you weren't because you were with him. How did that go down? So you then go on the show.
Yeah.
But I know just 3 weeks before even going on the show, things were quite different behind closed doors with that individual, right?
Yeah.
What was going on?
We were kind of rocky anyway. And I was in my kind of early partying days. And about a month before I went on, I was abused. And that's in my book, actually.
Yeah.
And he didn't believe me. It was one of these controlling guys, right? And he didn't believe what was going on with me. And that invalidated my experience of what had just happened. My mum was supporting me, my brothers, and there were police involved. But none of the producers knew. I kept it a secret. And then, I got rid of him straight away. And I was like, my mum was like, come on, you can go on Love Island, show them who you really are. And I did it, and I don't know how I did that.
Yeah. This was your mum rooting you on again.
But I've just been raped, right? And I've swallowed it all up. And I was very good at this. I was very good at swallowing things up because I thought I always had to just be strong and do it, just get on with things. And you'll see the loop in my life when all of the trauma comes in my adulthood. I just did the same thing as what I did because that's all I knew.
And so mum is rooting you on still. You go on to the show. You've got all of this on your mind, which I guess is not shared initially.
No.
You've got it. What was the show like for you?
It was chaotic, to say the least. We, me, my mum and my sister had a code word for the police case. So the producers could come to me in the villa and give me a code word. They didn't know what they were saying. I pretended my sister was pregnant.
Yeah.
And we said certain things just so I could have updates on what was going on, which no one really understood or knew about. And what I know now is the way I was in the villa with Terry, who I was with at the time, I was crying a lot. There was a lot of suppression and internalized emotion and a completely disrupted nervous system. So I don't even know who that girl was. I was just high functioning.
Yeah, you just...
Any wine in the villa and I'll take it. Me and Scott Thomas would literally nick everyone's glasses. Like, I was high functioning and just being. I was holding my stomach in, concentrating what control I could have around food. There's a camera moving to me. I'd sit upright, couldn't go to the toilet. I was constipated because I was too scared to go to the toilet because there were cameras in the bathroom. Like, it was just high functioning, like, you know?
Yeah. With so much already on your mind.
Yeah. And I don't know where all of this went, but I swallowed it all into my cells, basically.
Yeah.
You know?
And this is 2016, of course.
Is that when Love Island was?
I believe so, the when
Oh
you
my
were
God.
on it.
Yeah. Almost
It's almost 10
now.
years ago.
Wow.
And then you obviously come out of it. Now, mum at this time, well, prior to that,
Yeah.
mum had also been facing her own health challenges, right?
Yeah.
Just talk to us a little bit about that, and then 2017 and how mum was.
Yeah. So my mum had breast cancer when I was around 9 years old. And that was a tough time for me as a kid because I didn't understand what was going on. All I remember is in and out of the hospital, trying to wash her and bath her, hold her blood bag, and wonder if she was ever going to come home. And that was a lot of my kind of PTSD around nighttime came through then. As a kid, I was living with my stepdad, and I was like, he's not showering me, I'm doing it myself, you know, so your mum disappearing on you. And so I came out the villa, and my mum's okay, and then suddenly she's asked to go for another scan. She's got breast cancer in either breast. This is just under a year after Love Island. And we were like, okay, not again, God. So she had it removed, had chemo, radiotherapy. And then within a month, she went, Malin, you know what, the IBS in my stomach? She goes, I just keep telling the doctors, but they don't do anything about it. She goes, Malin, I told them there's something wrong with me. And it's not because I'm Sri Lankan and I eat curry. And she's like, I really am. I've done all the food intolerances. Bam, she's gone within like 3-4 months. Stage 4 stomach cancer. Like, and you couldn't really write it because my brain was just like, what is happening? You know, there was me trying to keep up with this image and appearance in the public eye, work drying out completely, making all money, comparing myself to everybody, falling into depression. Cocaine was at its worst, alcohol was, and then my mum's just died. So God knows what I was doing.
And so you then, obviously, this happens and no longer have mum as well.
Yeah.
2017, 2018. I mean, how did you process? I mean, grief is a whole nother topic, right? Like,
I didn't process any of it. I remember seeing my mum's body at the morgue, and it's such an abnormal thing because my biggest nightmare as a child was my mum dying. I used to pray every night, right? Dear Jesus, please don't take my mum. And that was like this anxious OCD mantra that I had, And to see your mum in the morgue and they put makeup on her and I was really angry and I started like prodding her face because I was like, get this makeup off. She doesn't wear makeup. She'd be so angry right now. And I started like smacking her face and then I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? So I started to get a bit of psychosis in there. Like my mum's here, but she looks like a Play-Doh figure, And then I had my whole body formed goosebumps and I suddenly knew that that wasn't her and that her soul was present next to me and that was just her shell. I had a partial spiritual awakening, but then I went back to what the terms are. We're going back to sleep when I met my ex-partner.
Yeah. And so, again, pre-Love Island's a lot on your mind. Love Island, which sounds quite chaotic in your mind, lots of things happening. You then come out, this has happened in 2017. 2018.
Yeah.
Which was an intense year for you because you're then with is this a new partner?
Yeah, so I started dating him around the time my mum had died.
Okay. And what was that relationship?
Oh yeah, Volatile. I met him at a house party. He was a drug dealer, fueled my addiction. Didn't know he had like a girlfriend, mother of kids, didn't tell me any of that. And I fell pregnant like within 6 months of my mum dying. And I was like, what do I do? And I really wanted to have an abortion massively because the signs of the abuse were only becoming apparent after around 3-4 months. I was grieving, lonely, isolated, coked up most of the time and drinking with him. And then suddenly I find out I'm pregnant and the abuse gets worse. I wanted to have an abortion. I booked in. Sister and brother are really religious. They're very Christian, complete opposite to me, and said, you are not. You are keeping this child. And I felt trapped, felt really trapped. Because lo and behold, she passed away. And my higher self internally knew, that this is not going to be for you. But I went against my own intuition there and I suffered massively. A part of my suffering, which I didn't need to do with, but I know that everything happens for a reason.
That's what it's going to get onto a little bit later as well, because obviously, so there you did go on, you gave birth.
Yeah.
And you named it after your mum.
Yeah. How ironic. But I laugh because this is what I do, right? I'm like, I look back on choices and things that I did. Like, it's like I knew.
And can I ask, so what, if you're okay talking about it, what did happen there? Because I know you then sadly lost Konzi.
Yeah. So when I was pregnant with Konzi, I was in a volatile relationship. The mother of his children made my life hell too. I was stalked, harassed. She'd hit me a few times. He was throwing me into wardrobes. He'd be turning up at mine drunk. I had to move out of my family home because it got sold. So I lived in a little apartment on my own, and he'd turn up, try and find me at 3 or 4 in the morning. And then ask for my forgiveness and all of this. And he'd be communicating with my brother and sister behind my back about keeping the child and being a good guy. So he masked to my family, and I was deemed to be the bad one. And the relationship was awful. The manipulation, gaslighting, control, making me feel really bad about myself. My nervous system was, I don't even know. I was just like that.
You're pregnant.
Yeah. And she was around 7 weeks early. And I remember she just stopped moving in me. And so around the middle of the night, and he went, "Oh no, you're fine. You're just overthinking it." And, the mother's intuition went to the hospital, and then they performed an emergency C-section.
So that's 2018. I mean, there's still a lot on your mind, right? And that relationship ends.
It does, but not the emotional chords. She passes away. He tries to hold on to me. I travel to Bali. Yeah. I try and escape. He's emailing me. I go back to him a few times there and back. And the last time I went back to him, we got drunk together. And then the next night, he had broken my hand, strangled me, thrown me on the floor, kicked me, sprayed deodorant in my eyes and in my face, calling me a whore, a slut. And I remember scrambling to get out of his house. Rang a friend, went to my friend's house, and they took me straight to the hospital, and they were like, "What is this?"
Okay.
So the period of my daughter dying, my mum dying, and me trying to leave him was just complete blur. I was just functioning, but there was something inside of me telling me to carry on. I was very suicidal after Konzi died. I tried to kill myself. I remember collecting a lot of the medication I got in hospital. I was depressed, severely prenatal, postnatal. And I managed to get away from him. He went to jail.
And so all of this is going on, and it sounds like obviously it's going to lead up to, there had to be a turning point. Because, well, shall I say, let's go back. You went to hospital. Did you say you went to a friend that night?
Yeah, and they made me go to hospital, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I remember going in, bruises all over my face, and they put a cast on me, and I couldn't move. My whole body was like paralyzed. I was so badly beaten. And my friends, they were amazing. I just lied there. And they helped wash me. Like, I don't even know.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that happened. You're in hospital.
Yeah.
When was there a moment where you kind of thought, right, enough is enough. I'm going to go down another path. You've been on such a remarkable journey, I think, since.
Yeah.
Was there a turning point?
There was a turning point. I went through with the police. Abusive relationships, that's an addiction in itself. He was like a drug to me. It was so abnormal. I just wanted him. And once I cut him off, COVID happened. I had time to think. I lived on my own, even though that was a nightmare for everyone. For me, that was my paradise.
Yeah.
I was alone at home. Yeah, I drank a bit, but I became a carer to help care for some people to get me out of the house.
Okay. Wait, how did that come about? Sorry.
Because I was a carer for my mum towards the end. I was volunteering, so I was like, I'll just become a domiciliary carer.
Wow.
So it got me out of the house and it helped. I spoke to loads of old people and helped them.
Wow.
So it got me out. And so that was great.
Yeah.
And that was where I kind of had my comeback almost. I reclaimed my power. But I hadn't reclaimed it all because I was still silently drinking and
Okay.
sniffing cocaine, but I was getting there bit by bit. And then, gosh, we fast forward a bit of time. I met my ex, father of my child, Zaya.
Yeah.
And he was a friend of mine.
Okay. And how was that then, that relationship?
Yeah, that was not great.
Okay.
He's emotionally abusive. He'll hate me for saying that, but it was not great at all. I hadn't dealt with anything that I'd gone through properly, and I'd brought it all into that relationship. I wasn't a saint either. Everything came up with my pregnancy with Zaya.
Okay.
Depression, grief, anxiety. I remember writing her dad a letter saying I wanted to kill myself with her in me. I didn't care. I felt really depressed because finally I had space to let things come up.
Yeah.
But he cheated on me when I was pregnant. He did things no one knows about. And I accepted a lot of it. And I just wanted to be loved. I didn't care. I wanted love, and I wanted to make sure this was going to be a family for me.
And this is 2022.
Yeah.
This is just a couple of years ago. And then you give birth to your beautiful daughter. How did that feel?
It was the same surgeon, the same room as Constantine was born. Same midwife. And I was repeating this cycle, but I knew it was going to be different. I knew Zaya had come to me. She's like the biggest highlight on my graph.
Yeah,
She's the only highlight.
Oh.
She came to save me from myself. I'm going to get emotional.
That's okay.
She completely wow. She gave me that family, which I thought I was born with, but it was never what I was born with. It was her. She was my catalyst to my authentic self.
Wow. And she
I
was...
never cry.
No, you're getting me going as well.
Oh.
No, it's okay. And I mean, it is amazing. I'm just looking at your graph because people can't see this. Obviously, this is your life. Like, we've got quite a few lows, but it's really going up there. 2022, she's born. She's born. At this point, did you know those feelings that we spoke about at the start, that, what happens in the womb, etc.?
Yeah.
Was that something you knew about then, or only after that?
I didn't know about that much. And I knew in the depths of my soul that the relationship I was in with her dad and the way I was feeling, because I was on antidepressants with Zaya for majority, she was absorbing all of that, and I knew it. And I knew that me and her dad could not be together. He left me when she was 2 months old, and even though I wanted him to stay so bad, it was a catalyst of my strength and my growth, because I broke every generational cycle with my daughter. Then that was what she came here to do with me. And I did that. So she does not carry any of my pain.
And I think that's a whole topic, this whole intergenerational trauma that's just not been spoken about, right?
Yeah.
And so since 2022 then, we're now sat here, it's 2025.
Yeah.
What have the last 3 years been like for you?
Oh my God. This is, I don't know where to start. Zaya was born, I navigated co-parenting. I was isolated on my own. A lot of my friends shifted away. And every time she went to her dad's house, I would binge drink on the weekend and still sniff cocaine. And then I'd get her back and I'd feel like crap and be okay again until she left me again. And then enough was enough. I took myself to this holistic rehab.
Okay.
Yep, I went twice because on Christmas Day, he took her from me on Christmas Day and left me alone. And I started drinking and I ended up at a party. So I went back to rehab. It wasn't your average rehab. It was a holistic retreat stroke rehab. And there was one guy there, psychotherapist. He was lead therapist. And he looked at me and he says, you know quite a bit about life in there. He goes, what's going on? And I spoke to him, and I was away from Zaya for 3 weeks, and it was the hardest 3 weeks of my life. And the night I came back from rehab, I get Zaya back, and I'd meditated that day. It was about 2 minutes long, that's all I could manage. But it freed up some space in my brain. I get Zaya back, and it's around 3 a.m, and she's asleep next to me. I co-sleep with her. And I'm lying in bed next to Zaya, and my whole body starts electrocuting itself. And I'm shaking like this, vibrating from my feet to my arms to my head, and I'm doing this. And I've shot up from bed, and I looked at Zaya, and I looked at my hands. I was like, what just happened? And I second-guessed myself, went back to sleep. I thought, was that sleep paralysis? No, it wasn't. The next day, I questioned my whole entire existence. And that was the beginning of a Kundalini awakening, which I didn't have a clue what it was, didn't know what it was about. I had to go on Reddit, on Google, and question what was happening to me and my body. And so the past 3 years has been shedding every part of me and my entire existence and expanding my consciousness.
Wow. So since that happened, that moment, things have changed?
Completely. I've rebirthed myself.
Wow. And so I want to get into that because then, you mentioned in the weeks leading up to that turbulent times and say it would
like
go and alcohol. So in terms of the alcohol and drug use, that
gone.
all ended?
Yeah.
Completely gone?
Yeah, everything.
Wow.
It made me look at the parts of myself I hadn't looked at from the womb.
Yeah.
So from that day on, I meditated for 1 to 2 hours a day. I still do. And it started to show me this life force energy. It lives inside all of us. And for some reason, I spontaneously activated my dormant DNA within me. It sits at the bottom of your spine. They call it the snake, the serpent rising, right? And it sounds very woo-woo to the average person. But it had worked through all of my chakras the past 3 years. And it hit my pineal gland, my third eye, to my crown. And that's when I started to experience bliss in true form. And I now know what life feels like to live finally, what living truly feels like. And I look at that timeline and I think, every bit of my life has led me to this point.
Wow. And how does it feel?
I feel liberated. I feel free from myself. I feel free from, like I'm not in a jail anymore, a jail of my own mind. I'm not suffering anymore. Don't get me wrong, it's not been easy. The shedding's been like, I've had multiple dark moments in a very different way.
And so if somebody's listening, they think, they could relate maybe on many levels. That's grief, it's loss of a loved one, it could be an abusive relationship. If they think, gosh, I wish I could have one of these moments, what would your advice be to them they want the turning point, but they just don't know how to get it?
All I had to do, and I'm a very stubborn person, all I had to do was stop running. Stop running from myself and the pain. Because what I unconsciously didn't know was that I was the narrator of my life. I had been writing a script of my life based on my unconscious beliefs as a child. I was attracting partners like my mother and father, emotionally unavailable, abusive. And I was seeking things outside of myself to make me feel whole. The minute I stopped running and I surrendered to a higher power, the divine source, creation, whatever you call your higher power to be, I allowed that light to shine through the cracks of me and my soul to show me who I truly was underneath all of the burying and the pain. So I would say, stop running and sit with your pain. But we live in a society where things are very impossible. We are told to run away from ourselves.
We are, and I think, and I'm with you, and I get it, it's not woo-woo or anything, because I think it's just tuning into whatever that is for some people, right? But knowing that there's something out there that's bigger than us, and the power of energy, I feel, is just quite profound. And you've said something amazing before, is that the universe is here to make you grow. It doesn't care if you're happy or not.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Tell me about that, because it's powerful.
It put me through all this suffering, right? And it made my soul go through every lived-in experience it had to go through to grow. Not go, but grow through. And I always say that the only way for me to have shined and to now shine a light through my voice is to go through lived-in experience. But to get back to little Malin before anyone had touched her, anyone had laid their beliefs onto her or projections, you have to undo what was done to you.
That's hard, right?
And pain reveals that. Pain was a catalyst for me.
But and looking at your life today, because I can imagine going through that over the last few years, you might re-question friendships, people who you're around.
Oh, yeah.
How has that been?
Everything's gone.
Has it?
The Kundalini, the energy inside of us pushes things away from you. It strips you bare. It doesn't care who it harms, who it hurts. I no longer talk to my siblings. They're toxic for me. I have got rid of everybody that I knew that were close friends, that were maybe wanting something from me, that were safety for me. I've changed the angle of my work. I stripped myself of everything that I owned. I went bare. I'm consciously making an effort on what I wear, what I ingest in my body, what I do, what I put on my skin. It will fight its way through until you realize the only way to have an abundant life is to be your authentic self in every form.
Yeah.
You can't fake it to the universe. It'll catch you up.
And there's one thing I want to ask you then, because in all of this release and the change that's happened, I want to talk about forgiveness. Because, I was doing a meditation just yesterday about forgiveness and how it's not undermining what somebody did wrong. They absolutely were wrong in what they did, but forgiveness is almost this release from ourselves. Do you forgive people for what they did to you?
Oh my God, absolutely. The hardest ones to forgive were my dad and my mum, and they were the baseline for me. I haven't talked about my dad a lot, but he did things to me when I was a child, which I've never spoken about, and I don't remember him. And so to forgive people that had died, I don't have them in this physical form. I had to really go inside of myself to forgive them. I had to forgive the men that abused me, people that had done me wrong or hurt me, because I then forgave myself. It's all a mirror. We're all just reflecting each other. I forgive them, I forgive me, and I set myself free from concern.
It's powerful. It's so powerful because I feel that there'll be many people who might watch this and think, well, I can't forgive somebody for doing that or the way they spoke to me or what they did to me. What would you say to them if they think, well, Malin, how do you forgive someone? They still got the emotion.
If you've got the emotion, you're holding the anger inside of you. It's going to fester in you, your solar plexus, your stomach. It will turn into illness. My mum carried illness her whole life. And lo and behold, she died of stomach cancer. The one place where you hold the anger and the pain and the suffering. You hold on to that and you're suffering inside yourself. You want to feel lighter and free, you forgive. Yeah. We can't control other people and what they do, but we can control how we feel about ourselves.
It's powerful. I mean, and you've now gone on, Malin, we could speak for hours, but you've gone on to do some incredible work. You're standing up for women's rights. I know in 2022, involved with Number 10 and the Queen's opening speech in government. Amazing work. But I want to ask, how are you today? How are you?
I'm good. I feel more me than I ever have. I feel like that little girl, that little Malin that was probably around 3-4 years old that'd run in the garden and feel free.
Yeah.
That's the feeling I get now. And I realize that if everything is energy and we are the narrators and we control our external reality, we have one life. And instead of living it in this loop that I was living in, why not live it differently and see what excitement I can get? But the only way that I've done that is by being present, just being in the moment.
Wow. Well, thank you, Malin. There's so much more I could go into, but I'm mindful of time. Now, I've got a few quick fire questions for you. And then obviously it's my job on the show to think, what's your superpower as I've got to know you? And something's really kind of coming through quite strong as well. Now, before I do my quick fire round, that's notoriously never that quick. Okay, firstly, if I could give you an unlimited supply of anything in your life, what would it be?
Water.
Oh.
For everyone in the world to drink.
Oh.
Fresh spring water.
Love that.
No fluoride in it. So people can open up their pineal gland and then they can see.
Yeah.
No, that was so weird, wasn't it?
I love that though.
But that's one thing.
Yeah.
Water. Yeah, I think everyone needs.
Beautiful. Okay, right. If we're having a dinner party, well, I'm not there, but you're having a dinner party, 3 guests might be with us or no longer with us. Who are you inviting?
Alicia Keys.
Oh, yeah.
I used to like her when I was younger.
Yeah.
She's
she
brilliant.
Playing, is she?
Yeah, piano's on.
Yeah.
She's a huge activist. I like her. And I'd get my mum and dad back.
Oh.
I'd bring them back in just to see their physical.
You'd have a lot to speak to them about, I can imagine, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd have a go at my mum for making me into beauty pageants.
Yeah.
So, no.
Now, if you could text your younger self, what would you text them? Maybe this 9 or 10-year-old girl, what would you tell her or text her?
I would tell her that she was always enough. And that thing she felt as a child I used to try and jump off chairs to think I thought I could fly when I was a kid. I was a weirdo. I would tell her that she had superpowers inside of her and that she was always magic. And this magic would reveal itself. So don't ever forget that is true and that is real.
Wow. Well, that leads me very nicely onto your superpower, because I think in listening to you, you've been on such a journey throughout life. And I think one thing, you said things happen for a reason. The universe had its destiny for you. But there's something that I feel like you've done above all else and people that I've met on the show. And it's quite a unique superpower. And I think it's healing.
Got goosebumps as you said that. My whole body.
Just because, Malin, I meet so many people and everybody's got highs and lows in life. And, the cards that you were dealt were your cards, but you've healed in such a profound way since that moment. What does healing mean to you?
Healing to me means finding myself under all those layers that were buried, remembering who I was before any of the chaos.
Wow.
And I want to help heal others through my voice, just through speaking, through being. I'm trying to embody that so people can see that they can do it too.
And I feel that's already coming through now, where you said that you're sitting with your emotions, understanding forgiveness, all these things. And if somebody is, again, don't want to sound like a broken record, but they're thinking, what is my first step to healing? What would you say to them if they're listening right now, they leave this? What's the few things that they might be able to do to start that journey?
It's to regulate your nervous system and do everything in your power to regulate your nervous system. And for me, meditation cracked that door open. And then the other things like getting rid of coffee and all of that, and that comes naturally. But meditation saved me completely.
You know what? Meditation also saved me. And I feel like it's that simple thing. It's our breath. And it's here with us every single day.
Absolutely.
And this leads me on to today's meditation. There was a little lesson at the end of it, and I thought of you. And it was about healing. And it said a quote at the end. It says, to heal, you have to get to the root of the wound and kiss it all the way up.
Wow. Yes.
And I just feel like you've really gone to the wound.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you've kissed it all the way up to where you are today. Yeah.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
I have a final question for you, though. And it's, what do you want Malin Andersson? What do you want her to be remembered for? What's your legacy?
I want to be remembered for surviving the impossible and helping other people survive. I want people to see in me what they have in themselves, buried deep inside. So when I'm in their presence, I activate something in them where they're like, I can do this too. That's what I want.
Powerful. Well, Malin, in the time we've had together, you've certainly had an impact on me. And no, it is. And I hope people will go away, think of that, sitting with their emotions, regulate the nervous system, try meditation. It is hard, but you know what? It's a journey, and you've rewritten your next few chapters going forward in life. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It's been such a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Huge thank you to you, our listeners, for being part of our community by watching, subscribing, liking, and also leaving comments on all of our videos. It truly means so much to us, and it helps us to grow the show, making it possible for us to invite even more amazing guests for future seasons. And if there's someone you'd love to see on the show, do let us know. Your suggestions help us bring on incredible guests that you really want to hear from. Feel free to leave those in the comments or send a message directly to me on my social channels at Gian Power. We'd love to hear from you. Have you found the episodes? How have they made you feel? Have they inspired you, challenged you in any which way? Share your experience. We always love to hear your stories. And we've got some super exciting plans ahead. And with your support, we can take the SuperPower podcast to even greater heights. So if you're enjoying the show, please hit that follow button on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you're listening. And hey, if you're watching on board your in-flight entertainment, remember to follow us when you land. Or if you've got Wi-Fi in the sky, hit that follow or subscribe button now. For now, thank you once again for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of the SuperPower Podcast with me, Gian Power.